certificates, and I like open culture. So I participate not only in TYPO3, but in Drupal also, in OpenStreetMap, in Raspberry Pi, and multiple other open source, open culture projects, because I like. So let's speak about DevOps. So before to begin, I would like to know who of you knows what is it DevOps? Who is already worked with this methodology? Who heard and understand what is it DevOps? 1, 2, 3, 4. Donc it's great. So we could see what majority of people are still some out of the buzz. So it's okay. Donc DevOps patterns, DevOps, it's the methodology which combines development and operations, two sides. Because in big companies, normally we have a separation. I don't speak about freelancer, which makes all together. He make integration, he make development, he make system administration all together. In big system where we have like hundreds of people or even 50 people, and everybody has his own role, we need to make collaboration, and especially we could notice what we need this on big projects. For example, it could be the site of a ministry or the site of a city, the project which will live a long time. Oh, I will switch off this stuff. Donc, the project which is living long time. For example, you have a site on TYPO3 which will work 10 years. Intranet, complex intranet with thousands of documents, and you need to organize them in backend. You need to grow your servers. You need to manage all the people of contributors. You need to support it in long term. And you have developers, and you have system administrators who comes and who goes away in the other companies. So, and it could be the problem. It could be such problem that the client could go away. He could say, wow, it's, what is it? They couldn't manage the stuff. So he will just go away. And one of the methods to organize such complex projects, it's DevOps patterns. So it's strategies and scenarios to create, deploy, and maintain complex web projects. When we are speaking about DevOps patterns, there is two implementation of this term. Very often we could hear DevOps when we are speaking about team collaboration, team communication patterns, when we speak how to collaborate between developers and system administrators. It's one of point of view. Another point of view, it's speaking about DevOps patterns, like about infrastructural patterns, how to organize and how to construct your systems so they will live in the more flexible and stable way. So, just a small illustration which is almost like classical. Now, what is the zone of DevOps? So, we have development. It's developers who make the code and who develops TYPO3, or we could say TYPO3 lives here. After, we have quality assurance, so the assurance of the code and of technology operations, of implementation and deploying of the code. So quality assurance, it's not about code only, but about implementation. And so technology operations, so this is a zone of system administrators and people who maintain, who backup, who provide security patches, who apply security patches, and who follow the project on the technical basis way. So, and DevOps, it's here. It's the central part, which it's the most tough. Because if we will put it away, so we will see what there is no connection between some parts of the team. of our project. Our project will be non-complete. So let's see what is not DevOps pattern. DevOps patterns, it's not real instruments. It's not Capistrano, it's not Salt, it's not TYPO3 serve directly. This is not DevOps patterns, because DevOps patterns, it's more like methodology. And the instruments, it's the way how the DevOps patterns are applied and processed. And DevOps patterns, it's not virtual abstraction. So we could say what DevOps patterns, it's something completely, we could say anything is DevOps patterns. It's a kind of definition of what is applied, used in our team. Let's speak first about team collaboration patterns, because people in IT, first, this is people. People stays on first row, and we could imagine any technological solutions behind, but if people couldn't do it, if they couldn't implement it, it's not effective. So, team collaboration patterns. The first, what we need to provide in our company, it's a good level of communication, team building, and open culture. So, when we are speaking about TYPO3, it's a very good technology to apply for developing of complex projects, because TYPO3 itself contains the open culture. As it's open source, as there is buzz behind, as there is a community, so we are pushed to make the communication with the world. So we are not isolated. It's not like developer, like who make, I don't know, Visual C, or he work on some proprietary language and he have no points of communication. So he's isolated. And finally, from this information isolation, he has no potential to grow up. When we are speaking about open source, like TYPO3, we have very good potential to develop the level of open culture of our team, thanks to informational cloud around the core of the technology. Let's see some example of team collaboration patterns. So, there is such stuff called agile methodology, and here we could find the elements which is used for also for collaboration in the team. So let's speak about dashboard, for example. Dashboard is a stand where you could show the process of life of the project, of life of the team, where with cards, like in Kanban, you could mark the states of your project to show the project is done or it's not done. So it's visual methodology of marking the state of the projects. The same, there is weekly info. Weekly information, so you could show the progress of each week. So everybody, he saw what each person made, what he understand, where he made something. It adds additional communication. Another element is common space. When we have common space, or bureau, or some kitchen, or some common space to talk, there is always possibility to provide some informational channels between the people, so they could work better together. Another pattern, it's people finder. It's when you have directory or public, you could do it on GitHub with the projects of the person, or internal in the company, where you could propose to members of your company to describe yourself, their technology, put their project, And so in big company, in the company of 1-2 persons, probably it's already done with direct communication, but in big company, such directory could be very successful. So people could organize micro-association inside and to find the point of interest of each other. Learning patterns. So sometimes we need to provide the good level of knowledge in our society, in our company. So we could use the mentor pattern when we have a software professional, a senior programmer who could be a mentor of a junior, so they have self-learning. It will take some time, but it will have another bonuses. Another stuff, it's open data. When we put some conventions of transparency of data, of results of development, of code in our company, so all people inside, they could look into the directory of code, of projects. It could be internal wiki or external projects on GitHub. It depends which type of projects you are doing. So, and with open data, you could organize self-learning of your company. So, it's voilà, the DevOps patterns. Of course, here I'm speaking about collaboration, especially about the developers and system administrators. So, if, for example, some system administrator, he blocked from, or he doesn't understand something, he could look on your company site, on your company intranet, and he could find a partner. So he could be his mentor, or he could be people who have skills about current problem. Okay, now we will speak about infrastructural patterns. So before it was scheme patterns, now infrastructural patterns. We will take just some examples of infrastructural patterns because we will see there is lots of them, and actually it's the patterns which developers already implement. But the abstraction is so nice made that even operational stuff like sysadmins, they could successfully implement the same methodology. Because we have the language problem. Because developers, they have their own slang, and sysadmins, they have their own slang. It's like if you will ask a sysadmin to make something in PHP, for him probably it will be some tough. But Python, for example, it will be better because the convention of the Python language, they are more near to Bash, to the language to Shell, to the language sysadmin he has a habit to manage. So Python is more near. And here we are speaking about language, real language. So we will implement the terminology, the abstraction, which would be near and for developers and for system administrators. So we will not reinvent the wheel. We will take the patterns, the design patterns, how they were made. So many of you, of course, read this book. These books, design patterns of Gang of Force, Gamma, Helm, Johnson, and Ulysses. It's classical books which created the definition of design patterns. And another book, it's the book of Craig Larman about GRASP classification, general responsibility assignment software patterns, great book for developers. So we will take some patterns from these two books and we will try to implement them to describe the infrastructures. So we will describe not the code, not the application, but the infrastructure. So abstractions, would be transparent for developers because they are accustomed to organize their code with design patterns. And thanks to some logic for transparency of logic of patterns, it will be visible for operational staff, for system administrators. So classical typology of design patterns, it's three main groups: creational patterns, structural patterns, and behavioral patterns. Creational is to create object systems, structure to define the structure, and behavior to define how the objects they work together. So let's see creational patterns. For example, such classical pattern like builder, he could be implemented in DevOps operations because it has the same system. So only we will not construct complex classes by separation, construction, and representation. But we could implement it to the infrastructure. For example, prototype, it's the same like copy a virtual machine. So you have a virtual machine with your predefined configuration of TYPO3. It's your prototype. So the classical pattern, it transforms in something what is meaningful and for developer and for and for sysadmin. After, let's see, for example, structural patterns. For example, if we will take, we will begin from the end, information expert, it's the classical system of statistic collection. So if you will remember such servers like New Relic or even some open source projects to get the information from your infrastructure, so you will find the implementation of these patterns. So we could get the most important information, the critical states, the errors, the charge of processor and memory of our server, and we could put it up and put it into a web interface. So we will get a information expert pattern. After the proxy pattern, it's very easy to understand for sysadmin because the proxy servers exist. Facade, simple interfaces to manage complex system. Let's go to behavioral patterns. So behavior, it's to describe the relation between objects and how they work together. So we will take, for example, command pattern. We have a server in our infrastructure which encapsulates other servers by its actions. Or observer. Each time when something happens in the server, there is a message which will be sent to the observer to inform it about changing of states. So we will have no time to look the details of each pattern, but we could see what many of them they are easy to implement in DevOps operations. Donc, how to use DevOps patterns? Because abstraction is good, but how to begin to use in your team? So first we will see what its possible to make simple strategies. It's possible to make complex strategies. The most important here is to choose good one, because from your choice, the success of the result will depend. Because projects are different and tasks are different. To understand which design patterns I should use in this situation, I need to look on the object of implementation on our project. So, and the projects could be different. It's no, sorry. I'm looking for. For example, the size of the project. If it's a small site which will live a small period of time, and he will exist just a little bit, you don't need to make something complex. If we will begin to think about small site, internet, it begins to be more important, and institutional site more and more important. So the size of the project, it's one of the variables in our evaluation to find the solution. How we will manage our projects? Or we will do the projects in parallel, so each developer will take his part and he will develop this model, and after we will construct the result from the elements. Or we have a classical conveyor, so each one sees what previous person made. So it's another factor. The frequency of release of the project. Or the project is released only one time, or there is frequent releases, or we have real-time modification of the project. So it's a couple of elements which describes the project. And let's see on the project lifetime. So if you will see classical website, we could find such following elements in the lifetime of the site. So first, the site is concepted, after prototyped, designed, infrastructure is developed. You put in place CMS, functional coding, content, quality control, deployment, and iterative development to add additional functionalities, and you have support of users. Yes, so. Probably I covered not all, but you could ask some questions to precise. We have some time, so it's a good moment because the topic is vast, and let's ask something. So we will precise the discussion. So if no question, I will ask the question. If anybody understood what is DevOps, who understands now what is DevOps, or it stays the mystery of as a term? Because many complex words were told, but I don't know if they were easy to understand. So please, if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. Okay, so I will, if you have no questions, I will just say what there is some links for those who wants to go deeper. I added two, and you could follow me on Twitter, or you could work with me on GitHub if you interested in you could choose the projects I work on. Voilà. It's my small blog. You have small information, all the tickets about TYPO3 and open source technologies. Voilà.